You are on the verge of a secret. There is a signature from your real father, a check sealed with his name that the world is not yet ready to collect. Everyone is talking about when this power will be unleashed, whose lives this legacy will change. Behind closed doors, whispers are multiplying because your destiny is still an unsolved mystery. That check is a symbol of a blessing, a divine mandate that will astonish the world when the time comes. Now all eyes are on you. You are the one who will reveal that great secret. Get ready, write in the comments 333 now, because the world is not yet ready to touch your legacy. There's something holy about the way a potter's wheel spins, a lump of clay pressed and twisted, shaped again and again. For a long time, it just looks like a mess, a formless mass that outsiders scoff at. But the potter knows what looks like chaos is the groundwork for a vessel of purpose, one that will stand the test of fire. So it is with your story, chosen one. While others only saw raw clay, the divine saw the finished masterpiece. The world looked on and judged the dust on your feet, but heaven looked deeper, at the hands that would one day carry water to the thirsty. So many wore friendly faces as masks, parading their goodwill like actors rehearsing their lines. They smiled, patted your back, and told you what they thought you wanted to hear. But behind closed doors, they built a ledger, counting every slip, archiving every fault. They crafted their schemes in secret, never dreaming their private theater would one day be exposed to the sunlight. In their arrogance, they believed that the curtains would never rise on their deception. But what they called insurance was just a ticking clock, and the hour of unveiling finally struck. It's funny how the seeds of treachery grow in the shadows, watered by gossip and fertilized by insecurity. Those who sat at your table and shared your bread were quietly chiseling away at your foundation, piling up the bricks of your mistakes as if constructing a wall to keep you small. But here's what the proud never understand. In God's economy, what's built in the dark is always brought to judgment in the light. Every secret conversation, every hidden note, every whispered accusation, they all have a way of surfacing, carried up from the deep like pearls in a storm tide. Their plan was simple: paint you as less than, convince the world you were unworthy, and claim your place as their own. They treated your vulnerabilities like lottery tickets, holding each one close, hoping for the jackpot when your time of trouble came. They tried to create a prison out of your past, but the prison they constructed became their own cage, one they locked themselves inside with every lie they spoke and every record they kept. But chosen one, you were never meant to be defined by those files or bound by their judgments. The divine author wrote a different ending for your story, one where hidden plots are uprooted and the truth is vindicated. When the winds of justice began to blow, the paperwork they thought would sink you became the very ballast that weighed them down. Just as a tree's roots break open stone over time, your patience and faithfulness wore away the grip of their accusations until all that was left was exposed, uncovered by the very light they feared. In the end, it's as if the courtroom of heaven convened right here on earth. Every hidden agenda, every secret tally, every false smile is being brought forward and placed on the scales of truth. Those who kept records, thinking they could rewrite your story, are now watching as their own stories unravel in the glare of divine transparency. Their arsenal of secrets has turned to dust in their hands. Where they once felt powerful, now they tremble under the weight of what's been revealed. The truth, once buried, moves like living water. You can try to dam it up, to redirect its flow, but sooner or later, it bursts forth, washing away the dirt, revealing the stones, and watering the seeds of justice sown long ago. Every record kept against you has become a testimony in your favor. Every attempt to build a stronghold from your missteps has crumbled. For the same hands that tried to fashion your downfall have ended up forging the evidence of their own undoing. If you feel the abundance of divine love in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can help spread God's blessings by clicking the Super Thank You button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more. This divine gift will touch not only your life, but the souls of many through this platform. Each of you has a sacred place in God's grand design, and your generosity will be the fruit of our prayers. Act now. Share your blessings to glorify His kingdom. For you were created to do even greater things in God's loving hands. May God bless you. If you listen closely, you can hear the song of liberation rising. It's the sound of chains falling, of old accusations turning to ash, of your spirit standing taller than ever before. Because God never let the story end with you as the victim. The Spirit took what was meant to trap you and transformed it into a passageway to your next victory. Their ledgers, once thought to be the book of your fate, are now nothing but empty pages in the history of your resilience. And as for those who hid behind masks, their performances are over. The spotlight of truth is shining on every shadowy corner. Their whispered slander is drowned out by the celebration of your comeback. The divine judge has ruled in your favor, and the very stones thrown to wound you are now being used to pave your road forward. This is your season of reversal. This is the moment the world realizes you were never the sum of your mistakes, but the living proof of what grace and perseverance can do. You're not the one in the pit anymore. You're the one lifted high, so others can see what happens when the humble are exalted and the schemes of the proud are brought low. The chains of accusation cannot bind a soul that has been set free by truth. Where others built monuments to your supposed failures, the hand of God is building an altar to your endurance. The stories told about you in secret are now being corrected in the open. Those who tried to write you out of your own destiny are watching as you step boldly into your promised future. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. This is what happens, chosen one, when the plot twists in your favor. The stone that the builders rejected becomes the cornerstone. The very files that were supposed to disqualify you are now proof of your victory over adversity. The balance has shifted, and the Spirit has declared the tables have turned. Walk in this new chapter with your head high and your spirit unburdened. You are not the product of someone else's accusations. You are the testimony of overcoming, the living letter of grace, the chosen vessel that can't be broken by the schemes of men. In every season, remember, what was recorded against you in darkness is being erased by the light. Your legacy will be remembered not for what others tried to hold over you, but for the faith that kept you rising, time and time again. Reckoning is never gentle. When the tide changes, it sweeps away not only the false riches, but brings restoration. Every asset siphoned away, every unjust dollar is being returned to its rightful place. Those who once celebrated their deception are scrambling for cover as their alliances crumble and the records they created become the blueprint for their own undoing. What was meant for your harm is now your restoration, multiplied beyond their wildest calculations. Memories of heartfelt talks, of moments when you dared to open your life to someone you thought genuine, begin to shift in meaning. The compassionate questions that once seemed to offer help now echo as subtle interrogations designed to extract, not heal. Instead of comfort, there was silent accounting. Instead of reassurance, quiet observation. Every detail of your struggle was quietly added to an invisible ledger, not to support you, but to build a false narrative for another's benefit. False caretakers are easy to spot in hindsight. The ones who position themselves as guardians, all the while noting your pain and using it as ammunition, weren't there to lift you up, but to plant seeds of doubt and distrust. Behind every comforting word, there was calculation, a measured effort to cast you in the worst possible light, while they appeared noble on the surface. But what they failed to anticipate was the turning of the tables. The confidant they believed to be their strongest ally became the one who ultimately dismantled their facade. All their secret meetings, their pride in outsmarting you, were quietly being documented by another, someone who understood that truth, once set in motion, cannot be contained. Parallel to their schemes, a much deeper plot unfolded. Not content with simply distorting your character, they also mapped out ways to undermine your stability and future. The agenda was clear: dismantle your foundation, steal your resources, and benefit from your loss. Each step in their process was designed to cement their power, cloaked in the language of concern. At the heart of their campaign was the strategic targeting of what you hold dear. With eyes set on what was meant for your future, your inheritance, your shelter, the legacies entrusted to you, they orchestrated a campaign to paint you as incapable, hoping to sway every decision in their favor. With every opportunity, they maneuvered to access what rightfully belonged to you, forging paths that bore your name but funneled rewards elsewhere. The surface narrative was one of care, but beneath it was the careful orchestration of loss and control. Their backup plan was always to question your stability. If their machinations ever came to light, they believed the narrative of your unreliability would save them. They prepared statements and stories, rehearsed and ready, convinced that undermining your credibility would shield them from consequence. It's like a patchwork quilt stitched in the dark, threads of secrecy and ambition, carefully woven together by hands, hoping no one would notice the mismatched colors. For a while, it seemed strong. For a while, everyone believed their place was secure, each square sewn tightly to the next. But a quilt made in the shadows can't survive the cleansing sunrise. And when the morning comes, the seams start to unravel, the threads loosen, and what once looked unified now shows every hidden flaw. This is how the Spirit works, chosen one. Light always finds a way to shine through, no matter how thick the fabric of deception. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace be upon you today. I am here to remind you of a profound truth. Our existence is grounded in God's divine plan, unshaken by the temporal concerns of the world. As the Bible says, whatever is done in faith will return to God in abundant blessing. Luke 6:38. Like that great oak tree, our roots are deeply rooted in God's universal truth. Every step we take, every stand we take, is secured by His strength. And now, you are being offered the opportunity to be part of that blessing. When you use the Super Thank You button and donate $100, this movement will return to you 100-fold in abundance. You see, a house built on secrets and silent agreements was never a home. It was a fragile shelter from the truth, always one revelation away from collapse. At first, the whispers behind closed doors gave them comfort, made them feel invincible. They drank from the same cup of hidden motives, convinced they would never turn on each other. But trust among the deceptive is as shallow as a puddle on a hot day. Soon the heat of exposure dries it all up, and nothing remains but cracks in the earth. Now, every pact that once seemed unbreakable is fraying at the edges. Suspicion creeps in like a slow-moving fog, clouding every conversation, making even old friends seem like strangers. Each is wondering who will be the first to run, who will be the first to confess, who will trade secrets for survival. Those who once finished each other's sentences are now finishing each other's stories, selling out the details to save themselves from the fallout. Like leaves in the autumn wind, the old allegiances scatter, leaving bare branches exposed to the coming storm. It's a spiritual principle as old as time. What's built on dishonesty can never withstand the winds of truth. The same people who once locked arms against you now guard their own backs. Loyalty withers in an environment poisoned by self-interest. And while they thought their togetherness would keep them strong, it is now the very thing that turns against them. Their fortress is falling from within, not from an outside attack, but from the silent corrosion of fear and guilt. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. In the divine story, this is the season when the hidden roots are pulled up, when every partnership built on shadows is revealed for what it truly is: temporary, fragile, and doomed to fracture. The foundation that looked so solid is just dust in the hands of spirit. Even as they scramble to cover their tracks, the truth is spreading faster than they can keep up. It slips through the cracks, rises up in unexpected places, and shows itself in moments of panic and desperation. The ones who thought they were authors of your downfall are now rewriting their own endings, driven not by unity, but by the urge to escape judgment. Where once there was camaraderie, now there's only isolation, each one hoarding whatever secrets they think will buy them time or mercy. Their circle of trust is shrinking. The air is getting thin, and no one knows who to turn to anymore. All of this, chosen one, is the fulfillment of a promise. What is whispered in the dark will be shouted from the rooftops. The Spirit lets no betrayal last forever. Light is patient, but it is relentless. Just as dawn breaks even the longest night, so too does truth outlast every scheme. Watch as the fabric falls apart. Listen as old alliances turn into cold distance. There is no safety in schemes, no lasting peace in manipulation. The day has come when every shadow must answer to the morning. Those who plotted together in darkness now scatter, each trying to shield themselves from the consequences that grow taller with every sunrise. But you, yes you, were made for the light. You're the evidence that the humble outlast the schemers, that love and truth always have the final word. The collapse of their alliance isn't your defeat. It's the evidence that Spirit is fighting for you. You don't need to lift a hand in vengeance. The unraveling of their plans is proof that justice has its own way of arriving, always right on time. So stand steady, chosen one. The quilt of deception is coming apart. The house of secrets is caving in, and the sunrise is here. You're walking out of the shadows, leaving the schemes behind, stepping into a day where you are no longer the target, but the testimony. The storm they summoned is now clearing the air for your breakthrough. And on this new morning, it's your name that will be remembered for faithfulness, not for fear. Sometimes pride is like a candle burning in a dark room. It casts a little glow, but sooner or later, the wax runs out, and what was once a flicker of confidence becomes nothing more than a pool of melted hope. That's how it is when people mistake their brief moment of advantage for an everlasting victory. Chosen one, we've all seen folks standing high on their own little stage, certain that the spotlight will never leave them, boasting in their own strength, as if the script was written with them alone in mind. But what they don't realize is this: every word uttered in arrogance, every joke made at the expense of truth, is being gathered up in the silence. It's like the wind blowing through an old house. At first it seems harmless, almost invisible, but in time it shakes the very foundations. There's always a witness, maybe not the kind they expect. Sometimes it's just spirit itself, sitting quietly in the back, listening while others laugh, counting the beats of pride as they build and build. See, in their careless joy, some folks let their guard down. They think the game is over, that no one is paying attention. So they start boasting about all the wrong they've managed to hide. They lean back in their chairs, clinking glasses, voices rising with each round of prideful chatter. But in that moment, right at the height of their self-assurance, the truth slips out. Not in anger, not in fear, but in careless confidence, as if truth was just another story to be tossed around the table. And there's always someone present, a listener whose spirit isn't swayed by the noise, whose heart beats in time with discernment. Sometimes it's a friend turned silent observer. Sometimes it's the quiet voice within, taking notes, seeing through the fog of performance. What was meant to stay hidden comes pouring out, not with a crash, but with a ripple that moves through the atmosphere and changes everything. Words that were once wrapped in laughter become stones in the path, marking every misstep for the world to see. It's like building a dam out of sand. You can heap up the grains, pat them down, and feel secure for a moment, but the river is patient. Eventually, all that water finds a crack, and what was so proudly constructed falls away in an instant. Their secrets, their so-called victories, start to seep out. One story slips, then another, until what they tried so hard to conceal rushes out into daylight. Suddenly, those moments of victory are replaced with silence, and not the comfortable kind. Here's what they forget: the divine keeps perfect records even when nobody else is looking. Every conversation, every boast, every whispered half-truth is seen. The humble know this. They walk softly and speak with care. But those who are puffed up by their own schemes don't even notice when their words become snares. It's written in the fabric of creation. What you sow, you reap, and what you hide will one day bloom, for better or for worse. In that fateful moment, laughter dries up. Boasting gives way to bewilderment. The confessions that tumbled out over the course of a night now stand as testimony, and there's no taking them back. Like an arrow let loose, the truth cannot be recalled. The one who heard it, maybe just one, but enough, becomes the harbinger of justice, carrying the whole story to the place where it must finally be answered for. And chosen one, this is your lesson. Don't worry when the proud seem to prosper, or when deception sits on the throne. Spirit sees everything. The very celebration of those who sought to bring you down is the trumpet that announces their own undoing. The truth is never destroyed by laughter. Instead, the sound of it becomes the signal that the hour of reckoning is at hand. Remember, the river of justice doesn't rush, but it never stops flowing. You are not forgotten. The words spoken in arrogance will be remembered, not as weapons against you, but as evidence of your innocence and the futility of their schemes. Let the proud shout if they must, for soon the only sound left will be the gentle, undeniable arrival of truth. And you, standing in the quiet after the storm, will know that Spirit was listening all along. One careless night, the truth unraveled in a rush of unguarded words, plans laid bare, crimes confessed in boastful tones, every careless admission recorded and stored away by the one who would eventually reveal all. Their triumph became the very evidence that would seal their fate. With all the evidence now in the right hands, those who sought to control the narrative have lost their grip entirely. Their signatures and plans, once symbols of their cunning, are now being meticulously examined, each detail another link in the chain that binds them. This situation has outgrown the realm of petty family quarrels and entered the arena of serious, unyielding justice. The weight of what has been uncovered demands real consequences. Those who once manipulated from the shadows are being called to account for every misstep and every calculated injury. Now is the time to share God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube. You can contribute to His plan and be a part of this divine mission with a donation of $100 or more. Every gift reflects God's generosity, and I believe it will return to you exponentially far beyond your expectations. Remember, His protection and blessing is on your every step and every donation. You become part of His divine plan. You are a strong, radiant being, unshakable as His mighty rock. Witness God's miracles, feel the fruits of your generosity in your soul, and illuminate the world with confidence and courage. Be blessed and let the light of the Lord guide your path. The aftermath will not be limited to a courtroom. The echoes will ring through every area of your life as justice is served. Not only will what was taken be returned, but the damage to your spirit and reputation will be acknowledged. The full extent of harm caused will not go unnoticed, and the compensation will reach beyond the surface. No longer relegated to the role of the accused, you now stand as the voice of truth. Every false claim, every attempt to discredit your character is being laid bare for all to see. The tables have turned, and the true architects of deceit are stepping into the light of accountability. All that was hidden is being revealed: names, timelines, and the full scope of their ambition. As the details are uncovered, the truth about who orchestrated this betrayal and for how long is undeniable. The record is being set straight, and your integrity is being restored. Even now, the atmosphere has changed. Those once so certain of their power are shifting uneasily, trying to distance themselves from the consequences. Sudden apologies, acts of kindness, or desperate explanations appear, but beneath it all is panic and self-preservation. The flood of regret and rationalization is not remorse, but calculation. Each move is designed to minimize fallout, to search for some last lifeline as the ground crumbles beneath their feet. Now is the moment to act wisely and prepare for what's to come. Take control of your world. Safeguard your information, record any lingering signs of their interference, and strengthen your position for the changes ahead. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. What will soon be restored is not just material, but your dignity and autonomy. The losses will be returned, but the real gift will be the chance to build anew, free from the shadows of deception. The storm they brewed to drown you has become the water that will cleanse your name. Every attempt to twist your journey against you is now the evidence of your strength, and the very documentation they crafted in secret will be their undoing. Where they tried to break you, you found a new resolve. The strength they feared in you is the same force that will carry you forward, beyond this reckoning and into a season of true peace and restoration. What's unfolding is bigger than vindication. It's transformation. When the dust settles, you'll find yourself not only free of their web, but empowered in ways you once only dreamed. You'll look back and see how every trial refined you, every accusation taught you wisdom, and every betrayal became the soil from which your strength would grow. The world will see you for who you are, resilient, discerning, and whole. Your intuition, long doubted and dismissed, will be recognized as the compass that steered you through the fog. Justice moves in quiet ways, sometimes hidden, but always sure. The process is already in motion, every piece falling into place until the full picture is clear. Your truth, once whispered in fear, is about to be spoken boldly as a banner of your victory.